Hey, Nick, after watching Jalen Hurts play with some limited mobility over the last couple weeks, do you think there are some lessons he can take from those games?
Yeah, I think any game you play in, there's going to be lessons that you learn, and just depending on it, and I don't think that depends on, your limitations or whatever it is. Like no matter if you played a really good game, played a really bad game, you're always going to learn. So, and that's our mindset of how we can take each tape that we play, each game that we play, each practice that we have, each walkthrough that we have, and how we get better from that. And so and that's just Jalen's mindset. That's our mindset as a team, and that's what we're striving to do each and every week.
Go ahead, Martin, and then Josh.
Hey, Nick, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
With the possibility of you guys clinching a playoff spot if you guys win and a couple other things happen, I mean, do you have to talk to your guys about, keeping focus on Washington, not thinking ahead to all those kind of possibilities, or they pretty much already know that anyway?
They know that, but my job as a coach is to remind them of things that sometimes are very obvious, right? And so every scenario that I'm being told that we have to clinch a playoff spot, and so when I first heard about it, it was every scenario like, okay, if this happens and this happens and this happens, we're in. All right, what else? If this happens and this happens and this happens, we're also in, right? But every one of those things requires us winning, and that's all we can control. And so that's been my message all week. That's been our leaders on our team's message all week, and we're doing everything we can do to go 1-0 this week. By the way we practiced all week, by the way we walked through this week, and by the way we studied and taped this week.
Go ahead, Josh, and then Ed.
Hi, Nick, and an off-field question for you. With Connect being one of your main core values, I wanted to gather your thoughts on the importance and how you view the Social Justice Leadership Council and the issues that they address.
Yeah, as players and as coaches, we have such a huge platform to inspire change in our world and our communities. And I'm just so happy that our guys are involved, and we have so many people in this organization involved, and so many players and coaches involved. And I think that just shows you about our team about how they connect with each other and how they look to connect with our communities and make it a better place. So just so excited for our guys that they're involved in that.
Go ahead, Ed, and then Bo.
Yeah, hi, Nick. Just to ask you about, you have a pretty clean injury report except for Jordan Howard. I just wonder what his status is. And then also, how has Kerryon Johnson returned to the fold here? How has he looked this week?
Yeah, Jordan's questionable, and we obviously don't have to make that decision yet. And we don't have to, he's still got 2 more days to get better. And so he's questionable right now. Kerryon had a good week. Again, I think somebody asked me this earlier in the week. Just he knows the offense. He did some really good things when he was here in the off season, and so we have confidence in him if his number is called.
Go ahead, Bo, and then Rob Kestner.
Hey, Nick, without getting ahead of ourselves, have you given thought, I guess, big picture, what your philosophy would be if you have clinched ahead of Week 18, what you would do with your starters?
Not even a little bit, Bo. You're getting ahead of ourselves. So I'm not there. I'll let everybody else think about that. Again, like I said, only thing that matters is Washington. Only thing that matters was our preparation today, and we're going to go up there and have a meeting with Jalen. Like we do every Friday. That meeting's the next step, the walkthrough and the meetings tomorrow, and then the game against Washington. That's all I care about. That's all I'm thinking about. I'll have plenty of time next week to think about other scenarios.
Rob, and then Jeff McLean.
If your team is rushing number 1 in the NFL in rushing right now, and when we ask the offensive linemen about why, they always seem to reference Stout, and they talk about the standard that he demands. What is that standard?
Yeah, it's just the technique. First of all, we do everything we can do to put him in a position to succeed. That's our job as coaches, to put him in a position to succeed. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to always have the perfect play every time, but our job as coaches is put him in a position to succeed, and then coach the heck out of the details of technique and fundamentals of how we succeed within each play. And then it goes down, and then it goes down to the over to the players of how they execute that play and how they execute the unknowns. And so, yeah, obviously a ton of credit goes to Stout because he is, he's helping come up with and he's really one of the main guys to come up with the run plan because this guy understands angles of the offensive line better than anyone I've ever been around, and to help put these guys in a good position. And then he's just such a technician, and that's what you want out of your coaches. You want guys that are can get the guys better fundamentally, and then know how to help them succeed by putting them in the right positions. And that's all you can ask for in a coach. And then it goes down to go over to our guys of they got to be the ones that go out there and execute, all right, and have their bodies execute it. And all with the talent that we have on the offensive line, led by Jason Kelsey and Lane Johnson, with the talent that we have, right, that you're always going to look like a better coach when you have talented players, like we do on the offensive line. So they're the ones out there executing it. We do our part of helping them, and then they go out and they execute that, and so the execution, that's the biggest part. And I know those guys love Stout, they love them, and that's a big part of it too, because you're always willing to go a little bit further for the guys that you love, and that's why connecting is so important to us as an organization.
Jeff McLean and then Mike Kay.
Nick, how has Kenny Gainwell handled any adversity he's faced this year, being inactive, maybe dropping down on the depth chart, some of the turnovers that he's had, et cetera?
You know what? This is a guy that I feel like he's unfazed. He's able to put behind him things that have, bad things that have happened and good things that have happened, and just work on getting better. After he was inactive, I remember him coming up to me and saying, anything I can do to help this team, I'm here. And that's, you just admire that in guys that even through a difficult time, where he's inactive, he's still willing to do anything he needs to do to help the team. He's still willing to do anything he needs to do to get himself better so he can help the team. And I just think that's the type of high character guys that reach their ceiling. I really truly believe that. I think you guys have heard me say that before. Guys that love football, that are tough, and that have high character, they're going to reach their ceiling as football players. Now, there's other things that contribute to potentially you not reaching your ceiling, but those are the guys in my past that have reached their ceiling as football players, and I have no doubt that Kenny Gainwell will be able to do that here as an Eagle.
Go ahead, Mike Kay and then Howard.
Hey, Nick. Happy New Year. With the quarterbacks being isolated, excuse me, what have you learned about yourself about yourself coaching virtually that maybe you kind of didn't, it didn't click with you when you're coaching in person? I guess obviously there's advantages and disadvantages to both, but what have you learned about yourself as a coach in coaching from a digital standpoint?
That my jokes might not be as funny as I thought they are, when I'm coaching. You get no response, and it puts you in a little bit of when you make a joke when you're coaching you can't just be all boom all the time. You gotta throw some jokes in there. You gotta do some things there to keep their attention, and sometimes I don't get the laughs I want. But in all seriousness, we had to, what I learned last year, because I think, I'm just convinced last year when we were with the Colts, we did it better than everybody else. We knew there was a challenge of being virtual, and we fought like crazy to find different ways to make sure we kept them engaged when there's so many distractions that are present when you're virtual, right? And when you're virtual, there's distractions, right? I mean, my kids are running downstairs at times, and we're not at home this time, but you just find different ways to make sure you're keeping them engaged. And so we took some of the experiences that we had last year, and we used it here. So a lot of that learning was done last year, and so that's hopefully I answered your question there, Mike, as best as I could.
Go ahead, Howard and then Mike Garafolo.
Nick, Lamar Jackson appears to be hurt again this week. Kyler Murray's been hurt. Jalen Hurts has been hurt. Running quarterbacks. Do you, with these things that happen, rethink a little bit the way you call your offense to protect your quarterback more when you see what happens with running quarterbacks?
Yeah, Howard, that's a great question. I think you always, because he's your quarterback, you always want to protect your quarterback. Now that doesn't mean you don't run him, but you do some different things, and we do some different things to make sure that he's led in protection, right? Led in, like, I don't know how to say it, but like, where he's not taking the hits. First of all, Jalen does know how to not take a hit. He knows how to not put his body at harm. And then we do our best, and this is from day one of making sure that he understands we don't want him to fight for some unnecessary things, and that we're going to do our best to help make sure we protect it by the way we block things. And again, I think if I go too much more into that, Howard, I think it takes a little bit of a competitive advantage away. I'd love to share it with you guys at a different time, but we're always thinking that of how we protect Jalen, because he's our starting quarterback. So you don't just aimlessly throw him out there and say, run and take these hits, because we know, like, it's a physical game, and you just don't want that to happen. So it's always been on our front of our mind. Regardless of what's happened in the NFL throughout this year or what's happened to Jalen, we just want to protect him, because he's our starting quarterback.
Thanks. Good luck and Happy New Year.
Thanks, Howard. You too.
Go ahead, Mike, and then Jeff Skversky.
Hey, Nick, I've had a few games down there this year. The road teams fans tend to be a little bit louder, and certainly you guys are closer than any of the other teams that have been down there. Do you kind of talk to your guys about, hey, let's get a jump here and almost treat this like a home game, use the noise to our advantage, particularly defensively?
Yeah, I think you obviously always want to start fast, as we all know. You want to have the lead, and you want to play from ahead. What I value about our fan base is that, from game one in Atlanta, right, we had a huge supporting cast there, and it just seems like it's been like that each and every week. Like, there was a bar outside of Denver that when I was with San Diego, when I was with the Chargers, I would drive by that bar, and it's just this little bar right out in front of the stadium, and I would see all the Bronco fans. I saw the whole thing was green when we played at Denver. And so our fans just do a great job of traveling and really do a great job of just being in a stadium and taking it over. I will never forget this clip that after our Atlanta game that somebody sent me of Bow Wow, the rapper Bow Wow, complaining the sense that when he was in Atlanta, he's an Atlanta fan, right? And I know he's from Columbus, so I'm surprised he's not a Cleveland fan or a Bengal fan. But of him complaining, like, what the heck? This is our home. It's our home opener, and I'm hearing Meek Mill play in the background. This is crazy, and we just laughed. We had a great time with that. But it just shows you that there's Eagle fans everywhere. Like, if there's tickets left, I don't know. Like, I don't have any family members coming in this game, all right? But if there's tickets left, I know our fans in it are scooping those things up and getting it down there to make this drive down there. And if there still are tickets left, fans, I encourage you to go get those tickets, scoop them up, and let's. I want to hear the EAGLES Eagles after touchdowns down there. I can't wait. Because I hope you guys hearing in my voice how passionate I am about our fan base and just how, I think early in the year, Mike, people were asking me, like, you guys are winning on the road more than you're winning at home. Well, when we were on the road at times, it was like it felt like we were at home. And so, again, just can't say enough about our fans and how passionate they are and how excited I am that and our team is when we see and hear them at away games.
All right, we have time for two more, so go ahead, Jeff, and then John.
Hey, Coach. You talked about being in position to clinch, obviously, this weekend. When you guys got off to that rough start,
I didn't talk about that. You guys talked about that.
Okay. All right. I'll talk about it. When you guys got off to that rough start, and I know you're positive, but did you have moments where you were even losing faith? And how did you keep the faith, keep believing, and also make sure your team believed that you would be in this position with 2 games to go and be in a position to clinch a playoff spot?
I think when you look at something as a whole, or you think about the past, like if you're not a process-oriented oriented team where you just care about the process, the results can, really mess with you. And if you're thinking too far down the road, if you're thinking too far back, right, that can mess with you because, your goal is to get better every day. And when you get better every day, when you grow every day, right, eventually good things will happen. And so that's just been my philosophy for some time. And obviously I was able to be a part of that in Indianapolis. And I know that's Frank's philosophy as well, of just come to work every single day and get better. And there's going to be times of adversity where people are telling you stink. And there's going to be times of triumph where people are telling you can't do anything wrong. So your job in all of that is to not ride the wave of the season. Your job in all of that is how you do the things you need to do to get a little bit better every day, right? So you're put yourself in position to go 1-0 that week. And like I said, it's okay that you guys know that I'm going to say that by this point, right? And like I say to our players sometimes, it's okay that you know what's about to come out of my mouth. It's okay that I'm going to say this right here. In fact, I think that's good coaching, right? So I know you guys, when you ask me a question like that, what you're going to hear from me. So I think that's good coaching. All I think about, right, is how we get a little bit better each day. That's all I want our players to think about, and that will help you get through times of triumph. That will help you get through times of tribulations.
Did you ever lose faith?
Never.
No. Good luck.
Thank you.
Last one here with John.
Hey, Nick, Happy New Year. Last question of 2021 for you.
You got it, John. This is it. Better be a good one.
Dig. There's a lot of stuff. The running game, because there's a little bit of uncertainty at running back. Miles is out. Obviously, Jordan, you mentioned, is questionable. When Miles was out the first time, what did you kind of learn about the backs, and how much did things change, or is it just next man up? We're good at this. We're just going to run the football.
Yeah, again, I always think it starts up front. That's not taking anything away from our backs, but it always starts up front, and we know what type of up front we have. And then it's just then you go into the type of depth that we have at back to be able to lose a caliber player of like Miles Sanders and be able to come in and those guys, with Boston and with Jordan and with Kenny, to be able to rush the way that we did when we lost them. I mean, that speaks to the depth that Howie and his staff have put together here. And so that's what you love as coaches, that I don't want to say again, that the next man up mentality. Well, you can only do the next man up mentality as if and we always will live that way, but like you got to have players in behind them that are ready to go and are talented, and that's what we have. I think somebody sent me something the other day of, you could wake up, and I thought it was really cool, and it said it was about Boston Scott, and like you could wake up. I want to say Merrill said it. I can't remember exactly because somebody sent it to me and I don't remember. So I apologize, Merrill, if this was you, and I'm not giving you the credit you deserve. But you could wake up Boston Scott in the middle of the night, lead him to the stadium, and there'd be a game going on, and he'd be ready to go. I love that about players. I absolutely love that about our players, and in Boston Scott, in particular. And so they're ready to go. They prepare like they're the guy each week. And, credit to Jamal Singleton, his position coach, to prepare him like he's the guy each week. And the players, Boston and Jordan and Kenny, like they're the guy each week. And credit to the players for, preparing themselves like they're the guy each week. And so unbelievable depth by Howie and his staff, unbelievable offensive line, and then just unbelievable character guys. that have talent behind Miles. And so a lot of credit to go around for why we were able to do the things we did when Miles got hurt the first time, and we're looking to duplicate that this time around. Happy New Year, everybody.
Coach, we're actually going to take one more for you.
Of course. I'm back,
Sorry,
guys.
Coach.
Not the last question in 2021. Sorry,
Hey,
John.
Zach, ruined my last question. Zach's got to get in. He ruined it all.
Come
Nick,
on, Zach.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. We've asked you about the growth of a lot of these players this year and this past week. Where would you say you've grown the most in your first year as head coach?
Just as a leader. I mean, I think again, if you come in each day and you want to get better at your job and you want to get a little bit better each day, that's my main job is that, and then to be in charge of the offense. But just as a leader, I feel like I've gotten better at that each day. And again, I've had good leaders to learn from. With my college coach, with my dad, with Frank Reich, with Larry Karras, Frank Reich, and my dad. And so, I had a good, and my brothers, and so I had a good background in doing that because I've just been around really good leaders. But you have all those things in your pocket of what you've learned, but you've never done it yourself, and so there had to be growing there, and that's where I have I feel like I've grown, and so but always want to be leading in that way. As far as if I want the guys to get a little bit better every day, I got to get a little bit better every day, and so hopefully they see that, and because I felt that throughout the year.
Nick, did you see Bill Belichick get asked about his New Year's resolution after his loss the other day? And I'm jumping in here to get the last question, but what's your New Year's resolution, man?
Actually, he was asked about it again today by the same person.
Get out. Get out. Well, you know what? I'll tell you this. I never have had a New Year's resolution because, you got to think of how we think as football coaches. I know tonight's New Year's Eve, but I got to work tomorrow. I'm not staying up till midnight unless the Michigan-Georgia game's still going on, right? And so our resolutions don't usually start as a football coach. Our resolutions don't normally start until the season's over. So I'll think about it then. I'm heavy right now, so I'm assuming at some point, I'm probably 10, 15 pounds overweight right now. So at some point it's going to be something like that, but that doesn't go into effect until after season. And I really got to think that way because I got the Jersey Shore right here. It's so close in proximity. I got to make sure I lose a little bit of weight before that.